good day to everybody. Today it's Mothering Sunday, and it's not without a degree of empathy, compassion, remorse and introspective reflection that are for my best wishes to all the mums out there, and at the same time to all the people who don't have a mum to wish a happy Mother's Day to, and give them flowers and chocolates and a cuddle, just like I'd like to be able to do today if my mum hadn't so sadly passed away just before her birthday on the 14th of July 2014. What happened to my mum was something which I tried to blame a lot of people for. There were a lot of she had several cancelled referrals to hospital, which had a very bad chest, and she went to hospital, and within no time she was diagnosed with adenocarcinoma, which had metastasised to her lungs and brain. Things didn't run smoothly. She had quite a lot of facial injuries at one point because she'd apparently hit her head on the side of the bed frame in the hospital, and she'd got very upset and unwell, and yeah, I love my mum unconditionally. People have always said, without blowing my own trumpet, they're like, you're so smart, Brody, you're a really intelligent guy, and I got it all from my mum. I started SANS school when I was 12, and I used to go to quite often 3 or 4 lessons in a week, some for months. I did learn a lot of SANS, but I didn't. I came out there as a bigger person with a lot more self-esteem, self-confidence, and personal independence. But my education is kind of not what I want to talk about today. I remember being shocked that I was not allowed to be kind of the nearest relative or next of kin when my mum was in hospital, internal ward at Torbay Hospital, suffering with adenocarcinoma, because I was deemed to have been too mentally ill. I did get sectioned for the first time in 2012 on the 27th of July. I was taken to Haytor ward, but I've been back to work for King Charles, not for King Charles, obviously, for LWC Drinks at King Charles Business Park in Heathfield, and also at Thrive Cafe in Totnes, which is a beautiful vegan cafe attached to an alternative medicine centre. And I was of sound mind as far as I was concerned, and I wouldn't have put a DNR notice on her. Eventually, after she fell very, very ill, they decided that she was going to marry her boyfriend, which was kind of like, they said, her kind of last dying wish. But they said she'd lost mental capacity. She couldn't make a last will and testament. So it was a bit of a contradiction there, and I didn't really like that. A couple of years later, I wrote to the Office of the Public Guardian to find out about whether she'd been assessed under the Mental Capacity Act, and they told me, much to my displeasure, that she was never assessed under the Mental Capacity Act, henceforth why she was allowed to get married. But they said that she'd lost her will, her last will and testament, which she'd made many years before, and she was too ill to make another one. And then her estate passed to her spouse, who I've had a bit of a tumultuous relationship with. He's a man who I have loved and respected. I've also had a lot of disdain, disagreement and friction with. Very much a kind of "you're not my dad" stepdad syndrome thing. But I wish him all the best, and I don't hold any grudges against him for what happened while he was acting as next of kin, apparently. So eventually what happened to my mum was really dark. I don't really talk about dark stuff on Mother's Day. She was taken to a care home called Bramble Down in Denbury, which, as the crow flies, is closer to our place where we lived at the time, 12 Market Close, Buckfastleigh, but took us still about an hour in the car to get there. I just passed my driving test, so I was using her automatic Vauxhall Astra to drive out to go and see her at this nursing home called Bramble Down. And the last 3 or 4 times we went to visit her, she was just really sedated, and was just really wasn't able to communicate. And they stopped feeding her solid food. And there was just one really harrowing time. I don't want to get my camera out. Sorry, Banksy. I'm not trying to sort of justify anything. I'm just talking about my own grief. I saw a quote on the other day on the internet the other day. It was something along the lines of, first of all, I met my anger. I met a tiger. I thought its name was anger, but eventually I realised its name was grief. And yeah, like I went into this hospital, Brambledown, and my mum hadn't had anything to eat or drink, I was told, for like about a week or 4 or 5 days. She was heavily sedated. And there was a jug of water next to her bed. And I said, "Mum, would you like a glass of water?" She was, through her comatose state, was kind of like, So I took a glass of water and I took it to her lips, and she had a sip of it. She said, "Is that all right, Mum?" She swallowed it fine. I said, "Yeah." "Do you want some more?" "Yeah." Gave her another glass of water, and then I did a second with another glass of water. And I phoned up her GP in Ashburton Surgery, who was her responsible GP, Dr. Holly, his name was. And I said, "My mum is perfectly capable of eating and swallowing. Why is she not being tube fed and not being actually given any sustenance whatsoever? She's like, starving and dehydrated." It was really traumatic. And he just said, "Look, it's like she's on her last legs, and there's nothing anybody can do for her, mate." Basically just told me to kind of wind my neck in and not moan about it so much. But if your mum is anywhere near you today, make sure you tell her that you love her unconditionally and that you do anything that it took to make her life better, and that the eternal, everlasting gift of bearing you for 9 months in her stomach was the greatest gift that that anyone could ever give to anybody, is to create a human life. Life is precious. Mums are great. Tell yours that you love her, and don't, when she passes away, allow anybody to try and say that she owes loads of money to a bank with a forged letter so that they can, after putting you through bereavement, rob you blind of all your worldly possessions, because that's what happened to us. That's what all those documents that you just saw. I didn't even open Google Drive, but yeah, we got sent a letter saying that she owed thousands of pounds to Lloyds, and eventually I took it to Lloyds and the police wouldn't do anything about it. They wouldn't call it an attempted burglary. They just said that I was welcome to report it to Action Fraud, who don't investigate 99% of the reports that they get, and they weren't going to be pursuing anybody for trying to allege that we were going to have our whole house cleared out and pay £250 for the privilege. So, make sure that you get your affairs in order with your mum. Make sure you haven't got any sort of like dodgy, avaricious, duplicitous kind of people who are just out to get what they can and they don't care about the consequences, because it can lead you into some really dark places. This isn't really a very nice Mother's Day message now. I'm sort of venting about the way that my mum sadly is not with us, and I guess a bit like my video the other day, that's because that's my perspective. Mother's Day is not a nice day for me. Makes me feel quite angry and dejected, and also really sad. But I want you to feel happy, whether you've got a mum or not, whether you are a mum or not. It's a beautiful sunny day out there. It's lovely. So just try and enjoy yourself in whatever way, shape or form you can with whoever you've got around you, whether they're loved ones or hospital workers or colleagues or whoever they are you've got. Celebrate motherhood, celebrate life, celebrate everything that's good and worth living for, valuable, and forget about all the bad stuff, because sometimes there's nothing we can do to change the past.